bang.
Cause it's Friday, you ain't got no job, and you ain't got shit to do.
It's the Cooper and Anthony Show.
This is a big story, and it's an NFL story, and you don't know anything about it because you follow nothing NFL.
I don't follow anything NFL.
You know, no.
I follow a little bit of Mulb because I've got a friend who works for Mulb. But yeah, the NFL I don't know anything about.
You don't know anything about it, even though it's big news right now. So, and you promised at the beginning of this year that you're going to learn more about sports ball, which you haven't done.
Well, I'm trying to learn more about sports ball. We talk about sports ball a little bit more. Now you're going to say something about a football ball thing, right?
A football ball thing. And it's because I'm bringing it up because we've had bosses that are dicks.
Yes.
So this boss, that's what you call the coach of a team is the boss. He's like the PD of the team.
Got it.
He's a dick. His guy's name is Urban Meyer. And he was a college coach, and then the NFL hired him because he was such a great college coach. And he's turned out to be a really bad NFL coach.
Oh, no.
Yeah, he's not really that good. His team right now has won maybe 2 games.
Oh, Jesus.
Out of, 12. So 2 out of 12.
When they hire these coaches, do you have to win a certain amount of games to keep your job? Or is it like we hire you for 2 years, see what you can do, and then we don't renew if you suck? How does that work?
It's like radio. We don't tell you if you don't get ratings in 6 months, you're going to get fired. But if you don't get ratings, we'll fire you.
Right.
It's kind of like that.
We don't say it, but it's an unspoken rule that everybody knows.
There's no magic number. There's no, if you win half of your games, you get to keep your job. No. I mean, if you suck as a football coach and you only win half of your games, you're still going to lose your job.
Right.
But this guy had the number 1 pick of quarterbacks. So he had the number 1 quarterback in the country, still can't win a game.
Ooh, what? That's crazy. How come?
Just his coaching is just horrible.
All right.
So he's got a kicker on his team, and the kicker's name is Josh Lambo, the 4th most accurate kicker in NFL history.
Wow.
So he's pretty good. He can kick a ball.
Okay. Got it.
So he missed 2 kicks during the season.
How many kicks does he have? Is that out of like 100 or out of like 4?
And probably 100. I mean, he is pretty accurate when it comes to kicking. So this is a guy you kind of respect because he does win you games.
Mm-hmm. Got it.
But in the 2 preseason games up to this point that we're going to talk about, he missed 2 kicks in 2 games.
That's good. Isn't that good?
No, I mean, you shouldn't miss any. That's your only job. I understand how mad Urban Meyer is. That, dude, your only job. Don't miss a kick.
So wait a second. So is it like when somebody once taught me how to play golf, and I would take the stick and try to hit the ball, and I missed every time. So is the guy goes to kick the football ball, and his leg just misses the ball, and he does like a Charlie Brown?
That could happen. Or the guy that's holding the ball is not holding the ball correctly. I mean, there's so many factors.
It just kicks the air? Is that what happens?
No, that really doesn't happen. I mean, they pretty much connect, but it depends on where the ball goes.
But you said the guy missed it twice.
No, he kicked the ball, missed going through the upright.
Oh, I think like he just missed the ball completely. Like he went to kick the ball and he just sort of kicked air and fell backwards like a cartoon character.
No, there's the goal post at the end. The big yellow thing, you have to kick the ball through that.
Got it.
If you kick the ball through that, it could be 3 points or 1 point. It just depends.
This is very confusing. This is like Bamboozled.
This is not like Bamboozled.
This is like that Fox show that we talked about yesterday, where it has a lot of rules that don't make any sense whatsoever. But go ahead.
See, that is kind of confusing. Sometimes it's 1 point, sometimes it's 3. It all depends. And sometimes they don't kick it. Sometimes they just kick it into the field. It's all. I'm not going down that road right now. I'm talking about the Dick PD here.
Okay, let's get back to the Dick PD.
The Dick head coach was very upset that this kicker missed 2 kicks. So before one of the games, the guy's out stretching. He's in a stretch position. He's got his leg out and he's stretching. So Urban Meyer walks up to him and kicks him in the leg.
No, what?
Yeah, don't ever it goes, hey, dipshit, make your fucking kicks. And kicks him in the leg and says, I'm the coach. I can do to you anything I want to do.
No, that would be abusive. And don't they have the same rules of harassment that we have in our job that you can't? That sounds like an HR situation.
You think you kick a kicker in his leg? The 4th most accurate kicker in the history of NFL, and you kick him in the leg while he's stretching.
That's like walking up to John Legend when he's sitting on the ground with his fingers out and stomping on his fingers and going, write a song now, bitch.
Yeah, and punch him in the throat.
Right, yeah.
And say, there you go. No, I own you. That's why I can do this. You are my employee. I can do to you anything I want. And walked away.
Terrible.
I'm the head ball coach. I'll kick you whenever the fuck I want, he said.
And what did the number 1 kicker guy or the 4th
he cried
greatest
like a little
kicker?
girl. He went with his tail between his legs and did nothing about it.
I mean, you would think he would. I don't know. Who's above the head coach? Who's his boss?
The GM, and then
That's
have
who
the
I'd
owner.
go to. I would go to the GM and be like, he hit me.
But the guy's mean. He's going to kick you in the leg, and you're a kicker. What is he going to do if you go over his head? They just hired this guy, so it's not like he's been a coach for the Jaguars a long time.
But he's a terrible coach. He hasn't won them any games. He's a waste of space. And now he's abusive.
Very abusive. So today, the Jaguars fired him. Finally. They said, hey, you're fired. And then the guy went, hey, I got a story. Look at me. I'm Josh Lambo. I have a great story about this guy. He kicked me in my leg. I'm a
that's
kicker.
so wait a minute. They didn't fire him for the kicking the guy in the leg thing?
No.
Oh.
They kicked him because he sucks as a coach. They didn't kick him for that.
See.
They didn't fire him because he kicked somebody. I guess you get to do that if you're coach.
No, you don't get. My guess is if Lambo came forward and said, this is what he did to me, then he probably would have been fired sooner. You can't abuse, you can't be physical with people like that. It's one thing if you're another player and you're out on the field and you rush them or knock them down, whatever, that's part of the game. But for a coach to walk over and kick a guy in the leg he uses to kick the ball.
Yeah. Another level.
That would be like me standing at the end of a runway and tripping Bella Hadid as she comes down the runway.
And say, I fucking own you.
Right. You're wearing my dress, bitch.
Right.
I can do whatever I want.
Do it. And then they don't fire you. They let you keep your job, and you get to keep your job for the next 11 games.
See, not only is this guy fired, but now that these stories, that's just the first story that's come out. We're going to start hearing more. This guy's never going to work in the NFL again.
No, but he'll go back to college, and somebody in college will, I don't know, maybe it's time for him just to retire. If you do that, you've made enough money, just get out of it. It's not for you. Coaching,
if you're known as a physically abusive boss, you can't even get a job at the Gap.
Now I wonder how many college players are going to come out and say, he treated me like crap too.
If he treated a professional NFL player like that, guarantee he treated some college players like that. We're going to be hearing a lot of stories. This is going to be like the physical abuse Harvey Weinstein. The chips are about to fall.
Right. So you might pay attention to
football ball. Yeah.
Yeah. To
nuffle.
Nuffle. You might pay attention.
It's often a matter of she said, he said.
This isn't just the bottom of the barrel. You've gone under the barrel and dug a hole to Japan.
All right, it's time for another installment of She Said, He Said, where I am going to tell Anthony a story about something going on in the world of relationships, in this case, and we're going to discuss it and see if we agree, if it's a male-female thing, if men think one way and women think another.
Mm-hmm.
I'm interested because I cannot predict what you're going to say. Usually I can. Usually I have a good sense. I've known you long enough. Here's one where I don't think I know what you're going to say in this situation. Okay, so first of all, what would you do with your dead loved one's clothing? Like, so let's say, you're living with a girlfriend or something and she dies and she has all these beautiful clothes in the closet. What would you do with them?
That is why Goodwill exists.
Right.
That's where you take grandpa's dead clothes, is you take them to Goodwill or whatever store down the street and you give them to them.
Right, for sure. Well, here's a dude on Reddit who did something different. He didn't quite do that. His wife of 30 years died a couple of years ago, and she had great taste in clothes. It was like designer stuff, really high-end stuff, accessories, beautiful, beautiful high-end garments. So the first thing he did was he reached out to his family and he said to his daughter and his daughter-in-law and like some nieces or whatever, hey, I'm about to give away all these clothes. Before I do, is there anything here you guys want? Why don't you come over, decide who gets what? So they came and they each picked about, maybe 5 or 6 outfits each, not a lot of stuff. And he decided, you know what? I'm going to call them sugar babies. What? You have what? He has more than one sugar baby. So obviously, if his wife who died had all these beautiful designer clothing, clearly he has a lot of money. So now he's an older dude and he has not one, but I think like 3 different young girls who are his sugar babies. And if you don't know what a sugar baby is, it's pretty much in the title. It's a young girl who has become the girlfriend of an older man, kind of like what Hugh Hefner did with The Girls Next Door, where sometimes there's sex, but not always. Sometimes they just want to be seen with the girls. It's mostly their sex, and they pay for them. Like if they are going to school, they pay their tuition, they pay for their rent, they pay for their, all that kind of stuff. So he had his sugar babies come over and take a bunch of the wife's clothes. And he said he likes it because he can see these young girls in his dead wife's clothing and it makes it feel like on some level she lives on.
Do you want to wear a dead woman's Gucci dress?
Yeah, you kidding me?
Okay.
Because let me tell you something about Gucci. They put out clothes, and once it's gone, that's it. They don't bring them back. So whatever Gucci dress she has from the 60s or 70s or 80s, you can't get that anymore. You go on Poshmark, that shit's expensive. You're getting that for free? Yes, please. I'll take this vintage Gucci dress that I can't get anywhere else. Thank you.
No, I think it's easy just to put it all in a bag, take it to Goodwill, and not even go down that road. I think it's just weird to see your sugar baby come out in your wife's Gucci dress saying, yeah, you look good in that. It's not worth it.
I disagree. I think that when you have spent a lot of money on clothing and you have a signature style and the clothes mean something, it's more than just clothing. It has sentimental value. And he cares about these sugar babies. They're women that are a part of his life. They're not just, it's not prostitution. These are women that are actually in his life on a regular basis. He likes to see his wife's signature clothes being worn by people he cares about. It reminds him of times they had together. Oh, that dress. Remember we went sailing and she wore that dress, or, whatever. I think, first of all, vintage clothing is everything right now. Everybody's wearing vintage clothing. It's all about recycled clothes and that kind of thing. So I like the idea that he's recycling and kind of honoring the wife in a way. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I wouldn't want Joe to get rid of. I have a couple of pieces that are expensive and nice that I've got like
but
in a
can
vintage
Joe
store.
Give them to his new girlfriend?
That'd be fine. Well, I can't wear them anymore. I'm dead.
Okay, your favorite pair of boots, can Joe give it to the new love of his life when she comes into his life?
That would make me very happy. Yes, I would love that. I would love, because it reminds him of me to see those boots. Even though they're on another girl, they're my boots.
No girl can wear them because no girl has calves the size of tree trunks. So they're going to be like, wow, these don't fit.
They're a little big.
She must have stretched the shit out of these. Now
well,
that's
no,
just
but
weird.
I have some expensive shoes. You know, forget about the boots and my big giant calves, but I have some nice expensive heels. You know, I would definitely want him. I mean, what, as opposed to giving them away to a stranger?
I think wearing vintage clothes, used clothes, whatever you want to call it, is fine.
Mhm.
As long as you don't know who owned it before. Once you figure out who owned it before you, then I think it's kind of strange. But if it's just the Gucci dress you found at the secondhand store, that's different. But
See, I think that's the bigger issue. I think that Joe's new girlfriend would probably not want to wear my stuff. I think that would be weird for her. He'd
it
be
would
cool
be too
with it.
baggy on her.
Well, it'd be way too baggy. No, he likes. When I tell you, I've met two of his ex-girlfriends, and I've seen pictures of others.
Mhm.
We are all carbon copies. He has one type.
Oh, okay.
He has the same type over and over and over. We can share clothes. We can share shoes. We could share him. It wouldn't. We're interchangeable.
No. And there's no way you're going to wear clothes from his ex-wife, ex-girlfriend, because every time you put that jacket on, you're going to call it dead bitch coat.
It's funny you would say that because today I was going through some coats in my closet because it's starting to turn cold and then it got warm. So I'm like kind of getting my coats together in my closet for the winter and then this weird in between season. And I came across this red coat that a girl that I hate had given to me while we were friends.
Mm-hmm.
And I was really torn because I was like, oh, this stupid coat, it fits me well and I love it, but it reminds me of her. Do I want to be reminded of her? Should I dump it? I haven't worn it in a year. So I'm like, I was struggling with what to do with it. I was like, one day then I'd be like, maybe I want to wear that coat. But now I'm thinking it reminds me of this bitch that I hate. So maybe it's time to get rid of this. I never wear it anyway. But I think that's the main thing. I think Joe's new girlfriend is probably not going to want to wear my stuff. Although, again, she's going to see my Fendi boots and be like, I think I can handle this. I think I could totally wear your ex's stuff.
I know, but that is somebody else. But you would call it dead bitch shoes, and you wouldn't, and you would every time you look at them, you would never wear them because you would just look at them and you'd pull them out, and you would think you're going to wear them, and then you would call them a name.
I can't wear a dead bitch shoe. Yeah.
Even though she could be the nicest person in the world. It would always be known as dead bitch shoes.
Yeah, and any of her clothes, I'd be like, ugh, they all smell like smelly vagina. I can't.
See?
She had a smelly vagina, clearly. I can't wear any of her clothes.
See? So it's not good. It's just easy to put everything in a bag and take it
and
to
give
Goodwill.
it to Goodwill. Yeah, good point.
Because I don't want to hear that coming out of your mouth every 5 seconds. Okay.
That's right.
Here's a she said, he said. Let's see how you feel about this. Is it okay for your partner to have his ex's nudes on his phone?
No. God, no. No. You delete all of that. Sorry. No. I would be so upset. I mean, do I know about it? Because he may have that. I just don't know.
You pick up his phone and it's unlocked and he's in the shower and you flip through it and there's ex bitch, whatever you call her, and you see
Silly vagina, yeah.
You see her vagina.
Oh, he has this one that she never met a razor a day in her life. She was disgusting. I stumbled upon those pictures and I nearly vomited. I was like, did you pull this off of some 70s porn site? And then I realized, no. That was the ex. And I was like, oh, this is, I don't know how you dealt with this. This is vile.
So you say no, you can't have ex's naked photos on your phone.
It's so disrespectful to your current significant other, your current partner. Yeah, no, it's really disrespectful. I think in the same way that you should, that's the only thing. I have a couple of old photos of old boyfriends, but not because I pine for them or remember them, just because I want to remember that time in my life. And I won't remember it vividly unless I have a picture or two to be like, oh yeah, that guy. Oh yeah, we were in Dublin.
But
oh
it's
yeah,
not a dick pic of that guy.
But that's the thing. I was just going to say, but any picture I have that was a dick pic or any kind of naked pic or anything sexy, gone. I shredded all that stuff because I think that's disrespectful.
Yeah, but I think it's the same thing as closing your eyes. I can still see it anyway.
Yeah, that's
so
fine.
what's the difference?
Because you can see it, I can't.
Oh, as long as you can see it, then that's the problem.
Yeah, if I can see it, if anybody can see it, if when you die and we open your phone and it's there and other people can see it,
then that's the problem.
Yeah, then it's disrespectful. Then it's awful. You whatever's in your brain, that's fine with me. That's your business.
Yeah, because
if it's something I can access,
boobies, I can just close my eyes and there they are.
Right.
But
there
that doesn't bother you. Okay.
No, but if you have pictures of your ex's boobies on your phone, that's creepy.
They should make an app on your phone. The minute you die, your phone just deletes.
It automatically deletes everything.
Yeah. As soon as your phone hears beep, that's it. Gone.
Right.
Deletes everything.
But then I also needed a robot to come to my house and get rid of some stuff.
That's why you should put everything in the cloud. So the minute the cloud hears beep, that's it.
I have stuff that you can't put in a cloud. I have actual physical things that you cannot put in a cloud.
That's your problem. You should have burned all that stuff years and years and years ago.
No, it's stuff I still use.
Burn it now.
But I'm just saying. No, I'm not burning it now, but I'm just saying, like, for my friend Jennifer and I, we have this thing where she said to me, and we had just turned 30, and she said, listen, if anything ever happens to me, and she walked me around her room and showed me where everything was that I need to go get rid of before my parents come, get my stuff and get rid of all my stuff. You got to go to this drawer, that drawer. I was like, well, you got a lot of this stuff. You got a lot. I have one section. She had like 4.
And here's my passcode.
Yeah, there was no passcode. It was well, she had one drawer that was like she's a pothead. I mean, now marijuana is legal, so it's not a big deal. But back then, it was a problem, So she was like, "Get rid of all my pot stuff. Here's all my sex toys. Here's some lingerie. Here's some other whatever." She had all kinds of stuff that she wanted me to get rid of. It would be a lot of work. Like they need to call me and be like, "Jennifer's dead." But hang on, I need an hour.
Yeah, I don't know how I'm going to touch that to throw that away, but I'll figure it out.
It's all in drawers. You just pull the drawers out and you dump it in a big bag.
The whole thing. Just burn my house. Beep, burn the house, clear the phone, clear everything in the cloud. We'll be fine.
It's the Cooper and Anthony Show.
More exciting action. Action. Let's listen in.
So being child-free is having a moment right now. I don't know if you saw, there was several stories in the news today about celebrities not having kids. And then there's she's an influencer, bikini model, that she came out and said that she's not going to have kids. And she said, she and her boyfriend, they love kids. They love other people's kids. They don't want their own kids. They made that choice. They realize they're just way too selfish. They want to be able to go where they want to go at any time and do what they want to do at any time and not be stuck, like held down by a kid's schedule. A kid's got to be in school. Like they want to pick up and move somewhere. They don't have to worry about getting a kid into school and that kind of stuff. And then she said, having a business for her, I guess they have a very big business and they have lots of employees. She said, to me, over the past 10 years, we've really grown our business. That's our child. Mm-hmm. We put all of our time in. We had days that we didn't sleep. We had stressful things happen that kept us anxious and up and wondering what was going to happen the next day. And is it going to be okay? When the business was new, we were growing it and now it's grown and older and it has other needs. She said, to us, that feels like our kid. Well, of course, as you know, on Instagram, everybody had an opinion. And most people were like, how dare you? How dare you compare a business to a child? Like having a business is very different than being a mother. She wasn't saying that having a business is like being a mother, like you're a mother. She's saying that she doesn't want actual children because her business takes up all of her time the way a child might in a parent's world. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean? So they really went after her. I mean, she kept having to post apologies and explaining herself again. And this is somebody with like millions of followers. So of course everybody has an opinion. And as you say, people with keyboards. But I just don't understand, like, if one person doesn't want to have children and that's how she lives her life, what do you care? Why do they care so much? Do they take it personally? Like some way, like it's disparaging you as a parent if she's comparing. I mean, I once made a joke about comparing having a dog to having a kid. Like, oh, I know what it's like. I got dogs, like joking. I'm well aware that having a child is much more difficult than having a dog. Believe me.
Sometimes it's not. Sometimes a dog is more of a pain in the ass than a kid is. I think it's different because the job or the employees are going to miss you for like a week after you die, and your kids will miss you for the rest of their life. So I think,
well, it's not really about that. I mean, especially like, look at me. I don't talk to my biological father. I don't even know if he's alive. So not only do I not miss him, I could care less what's going on in his life.
But that's how I look at it, that the kids keep your memory alive somewhat.
If they like you.
But the people at work will keep your memory alive for a week and then they forgot about you.
No, if your business is kept alive, if it's passed down to the CFO or somebody else, and it's a business that thrives and has hundreds of employees and keeps going after your death, then you can't compare it. I mean, that's something that's actually helping other people feed their families.
Yeah, I just don't think they miss them. They don't keep I think the way people go on are people remembering them.
But all these people were like, I find your statements offensive and misguided. It's like, that's what she thinks. You disagree. The fact that she got so much hate and then she had to get back on and she had to address some of the comments that she got. She said, firstly, children and business are not the same thing. I'd like to address that I do have a deeper understanding of this. Well, she didn't think that children and a business was the same thing. She's going to come out and say, I have a deeper understanding now. Thank you for righting my wrongs. No.
Thank you, assholes. Didn't realize it before you brought it up. Thank you. Yeah.
She says, parenting looks different for everyone. Humans, pets, companies, all involve huge responsibilities and commitments. I have all the love and respect for parents. Your job must be one of the hardest, yet most fulfilling on the planet.
See,
don't kiss their ass is all I have to say. Like, you don't need to do that.
I think the bigger problem is in 100 years, people like you and her are not replacing yourself on the planet. So there's going to be a lot less people on the planet because we're not having children like we used to. And that's how you kill a species.
Right. That's true. I mean, most people that do have kids, they have 1 or 2 kids. I think the most that people have anymore is 4. But like, my boyfriend is the youngest of 6. I grew up, one of my best friends was the youngest of 10. So I have a lot of those kind of families don't happen anymore. Those big, giant families. And then there's another article today that was in the New York Post where I guess Jennifer Aniston had been asked at some point about she's always asked about not having kids.
It's just another day she gets asked.
Yeah, it's another day for her. Yeah. So once again, Jennifer Aniston is in a situation where somebody said, oh, well, you chose your career over having a baby. Like, how absolutely selfish are you? And she told the Hollywood Reporter, I used to take it all very personally, the pregnancy rumors and that sort of thing. Oh, she chose a career over her kids, everybody assumed. But the thing is, she said, it's not like you have no clue what's going on with me personally, medically. Why can't I have kids? Can I? They don't know anything. So it's like, it's hurtful and it's nasty. Maybe Jennifer Aniston cannot have children. You don't know. Or maybe she chose just not to have kids. So they found women, this is a woman who's like very well known on TikTok where she's child free and posts all this stuff about being child free. And then they also spoke to this doctor who also doesn't have children about, being child free as well. And just the idea of asking a woman questions about their uterus, you know what I mean? Like, are you having kids? None of your business. Why not? None of your business is why. Is that good enough? And, I started looking into it. And the number of celebrities that don't have kids, it's not just Jennifer Aniston. Jared Leto said he's never going to have kids. Kim Cattrall doesn't have kids. Rashida Jones, Betty White, who's turning 100, has no children.
She never
Leonardo
had kids?
Nope, never had kids. Nope.
Wow, did not know
Leonardo DiCaprio dates kids, so he can't have any.
that. He's got tons of kids. He doesn't know about it.
Right, exactly. From Blackish, Tracy Ellis Ross, no kids. Winona Ryder, no kids. Dolly Parton doesn't have children. You're telling me
Really?
that you're better than Dolly Parton? You are not better than Dolly Parton. Keanu Reeves, no kids. Sarah Paulson, Oprah has no kids. Helen Mirren, Ashley Judd.
See, where does that money go then? Oprah money. Where does Oprah money go when she dies?
It goes on. Marissa Tomei, Katharine Hepburn, Rachel Ray. Yeah. A lot of women chose not to have children. A lot of celebrities chose. But see, that's the thing. They keep asking Jennifer Aniston about it. But you don't ask Betty White why she didn't have kids. You don't ask Dolly Parton why she didn't have kids.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
Well, I
None of
think
your business.
I think Jennifer Aniston is selfish for not having kids because she's so hot. To keep those genes to yourself. Can you imagine her and Brad Pitt having kids, what those kids would have looked like? Those genes would have been carried on for generations and generations.
Well,
But
he
no.
had kids with Angelina Jolie, who's
I know, but
equally
he
as
never had it.
beautiful.
He never had it with Jennifer Aniston, who's gorgeous. So she's killing those genes with her. That's just wrong. Because they could have had a kid. Can you imagine how long ago was it that they were married? 20 years?
They got married in 2000. They started dating. They met in 1994. They started dating in 1998. And then they got married in 2000. But they divorced by 2005. So they were only together 5 years. Think about it. 2005. Think about how many years ago that is. He's already divorced from Angelina Jolie.
Do the
and
math.
we're still talking about it.
2005 minus the 10. Plus, no, see, that is selfish. Because,
No.
listen to me, because if they had a girl, that girl would be 21. And can you imagine what that girl would look like being 21? And I might have seen photos of her online naked, and she deprived me of that.
Okay, well, let me tell you something, and I hate to say this. It's not a guarantee that their kid would be gorgeous. God, I hate to say this, but ugh. All right, don't get mad at me. I'm just saying what I think. I follow Brooke Shields on Instagram because I love her. I've always loved her. I've loved her acting. I love her attitude. I love her feminism. I love her whole story. I love everything about Brooke Shields. I feel like I grew up with her. I grew up like watching her
So
life
beautiful.
unfold and her relationship with her mother and that kind of thing.
Right.
And to me, Brooke Shields and Cindy Crawford are the two most beautiful women of that generation. Like they're so incredibly gorgeous. And then Cindy Crawford has this daughter, Kai Gerber, who looks exactly like her, but somehow prettier. If it's
And
possible.
if she decided not to have a kid, we wouldn't have that kid.
We wouldn't have Kai Gerber. Exactly. But then I saw a picture of Brooke Shields with her daughters. And look, every woman's beautiful. The kids, if you just saw them in the street, you'd be like, yeah, those are attractive girls. They are not Brooke Shields beautiful. They are not model beautiful. They're great looking kids, but they are not
Is the husband good
supermodel.
looking?
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah, absolutely.
okay.
So-
But what are the odds that Brad Pitt and Jennifer Aniston aren't going to have the second coming?
No, it's very possible.
And I could have seen that woman naked. So you deprive me of seeing her naked.
You would have never seen any of them naked. You're not in that way. You didn't have a shot in hell of any of those people.
No, I could have seen it on a porn site.
Well, the weird thing is that Kris Jenner and Caitlyn Jenner had these gorgeous daughters when neither one of them are all that attractive.
Mm-hmm.
So I think there's no rhyme or reason to that stuff. It's amazing. Like some of it seems like it's a guarantee. And sometimes when I think about like if Jennifer Aniston and Brad Pitt did have a kid, that it would be one of these kids that like, it'd be like looking into the sun.
Mm-hmm.
But on the other hand, it might not be.
No, go back and watch the Friends episode of Thanksgiving when Brad Pitt came over to the house for Thanksgiving, and they could have had kids at that point. What that kid would have looked like. that kid would be a supermodel right now.
I respect her for not having kids for the reason that you're saying, for the fact that people were like, God, you're so talented, you're so beautiful. That's not a reason to have children. It's not a good enough reason.
Because of me. I want to see what that child will look like. That's all I'm saying. And she's the top number one.
Right. She's your number one.
She's my number one.
Yeah, no, I understand.
Like Ashton Kutcher and
Mila Kunis.
Shut up, Meg. Have kids.
Yeah.
So we get to see what they look like at some point. There's no way their kids are going to be ugly.
Could be. You don't know. You don't know what her parents look like or his parents.
Oh, yeah, because she is Russian. So, there's a lot of those Russians.
There may be some ugly genes in there. You don't know. I mean, it seems like the two of them are gorgeous and they should have gorgeous kids. But, you never know. Like I said, Brooke Shields' daughters they're good looking, but they're not supermodel. Like I said, Brooke Shields was one of the most beautiful, still is one of the most beautiful women on the planet. And I was really expecting her daughters to be like again, looking into the sun. They're really not. They're kind of average looking girls, which I think is probably better for them because, there's so much, her life was so complicated. She talks about it all the time and, her momager and stuff like that. So it's probably better that they're not supermodel beautiful.
This is not live. It's like a rerun.
It's a rerun.
It's the Cooper and Anthony Show.
We are talking about, there's a petition that was started here in North Carolina about child-free dining, that should be childless and child-free people should be able to go to restaurants and be offered just the same thing as smoking and non-smoking sections. They should offer child and childless sections. Mm-hmm. So that's what we're talking about. So now, Dana.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good. My husband and I actually brought up this topic this past weekend, so it's ironic that I heard you talking about it.
Oh.
I am for child-free dining for the simple fact of we're a young married couple that would like to go out to eat without everybody else's children screaming in our ear.
Mm-hmm. Now, should it depend on where you eat? Like if you go to, I guess, Applebee's, you expect there to be kids, but if you go to Ruth's Chris, you'd like to be able to pay for your expensive steak without kids around.
Even at Applebee's, I would like to be able to eat in peace. Anything above a Burger King or Taco Bell, I would like to be able to eat in peace without hearing somebody scream "mommy" for an hour or throw food across the room. Or I love kids and I actually work with kids, but when I eat, I would like to be able to eat in peace.
Right, because there are some children that are well behaved. So we're talking about the ones that are not, or the parents that don't know how to control their children properly.
Right. And,
so we can't take that chance if we're going out to eat. You're saying.
Right.
Right.
And I'm just saying, like under the age of 5.
Okay. Under the age. Okay. So it should be based on age also.
Possibly.
Okay.
But it's the nagging, screaming, crying when they don't get their way. It just ruins my appetite, makes me sick in my stomach because it just grates my nerves, and I get sick of hearing, if you do that one more time, and then there's never any follow through.
Yeah, because it's not relaxing when you're sitting and trying to have a meal.
No, it's not good for anybody's digestion, the parents, the child's, or mine, and I'm having to pay for it. So.
Very good point. Okay, thank you, Dana. Thank you. I don't disagree with. See, I didn't think about the digestion thing. I didn't think about that. It's probably not good for the kid either.
Right.
It's very stressful for a kid if the mother's sitting there yelling at him while he's eating.
Well, then they should shut up.
Yeah, well, you got to yell at him.
Hey, Brad, how are you?
I'm doing well.
So now you're in favor of a no-kid zone.
Oh, definitely.
So if you walk into a restaurant, you'd like there to be a child-free section, like a no-smoking section.
Very much so.
Okay.
Actually, I'm asthmatic, and I will right now choose to have a smoker sit next to me rather than a family with kids.
Wow. That's an endorsement for the no-kid zone.
I really have it great against my nerves when a family with an uncontrollable child has this kid yelling, screaming up and down out of their chair, in the aisles. It doesn't matter which restaurant I'm at. If I see it anywhere, it just really ruins my meal.
Mm-hmm. And have you ever complained or moved your table or anything?
Yes, I have.
And what's usually the response of the restaurant? Do they usually apologize and move you, or what do they do?
Oftentimes, they do apologize and move, on occasion, I actually have had a manager go to the other table and ask them to quiet down the child.
And did they?
And they actually, the case I'm remembering, they kind of got up in arms and stormed off with a very bad taste in their mouth.
But at least they left.
For my benefit, yes.
Yeah, at least they left. That was your goal. Thank you, Brad. Thank you. Okay, so child-free zone. So we like this idea, right, Alice?
Yes, definitely. Now, I'm much older than a lot of your callers, and I grew up, it was you sat down, you had your dinner, and you were quiet. We never carried on the way children carry on today. Parents don't pay enough attention to their kids. When I grew up, I didn't have a placemat with crayons at every place I went to eat.
Right.
It didn't exist. Maybe we had placemats that had some games on it, puzzles or whatever you could talk about. But my parents conversed with me.
So children were better behaved, you're saying. So it's not that you minded children, so they now they're not as behaved as they were.
Oh, definitely not. I've seen parents go out with their kids. They're sitting down at a table, and the parents on the phone talking to someone.
And the kids running and doing whatever the kid wants,
running around doing whatever they want. Parents not paying any attention to the child.
See, that's a good reason to have a kid-free zone because of parents like that.
Definitely.
Because while there are parents that, are very good with discipline and they're very well-behaved children, that's not all the children.
No, it's not all the children. But parents that don't pay attention to their kids, parents that allow their child to run around a dining room for 10 minutes, just run around the aisle for 10 minutes without stopping them.
Right.
That allow them to stand up on the seat and turn around and stare at the people behind them.
Right.
Or the blood-curdling scream that comes out of some of these children. It's just, every time it happens, I say terrible things.
And I got to tell you, but let me tell you something, Alice. See, here's the thing about this opportunity for these parents. Here's an opportunity to teach your children not just manners, but respect for adults.
Exactly, and they don't get that. The parents are too involved in themselves to pay attention to the children.
Right.
And that's what I see as an adult. I don't have kids, and I know raising children is difficult.
But you should be allowed to go out and spend your hard-earned money on a good meal without having to be disturbed. Right.
Without being disturbed.
Right.
Without having them jumping, running, screaming, carrying on, climbing under tables. And it's just, I never did that as a child. If I did, I would have caught holy.
And that's the thing. You're right. And that's the thing. It's the idea that the children there's no consequences. Children behave any old way, and the parents just think it's adorable. Yes. It's just so cute.
And it's not cute and adorable.
Right. It's not cute to other people. It might be cute to you, but it's not cute to everybody around you.
Your child is not disciplined.
This all boils down to the parents.
Yes.
I don't think.
Of course, it's the parents.
I know, but you're talking about kid-free zones. If the kids had parents that actually paid attention to them, we wouldn't even have this conversation.
Look, Anthony, if you're not old enough to drive to the restaurant, then you need to stay home.
Kids gotta eat.
I agree with Anthony on that. As I said, when I grew up, we were well behaved. That was it. It was completely different. I don't think my generation suffered from ADD with half the stuff that the current generation is suffering from.
Right.
We had discipline. When we came home from school, either we did our homework or we went out and we played outside. We burnt off that energy.
Right.
We didn't come home, sit down in front of a TV all afternoon or, all day Saturday and play video games.
That's an interesting point. So a lot of what we see when the kids are running around, you think it's just energy that hasn't been expended elsewhere, like outdoor activities.
That. Yes.
Right. Okay. That's pretty smart. I didn't think about that. Thank you, Alice. Thank you very much.
But the thing is, too, as well, that it's not banning kids from restaurants. It's making a special section for people that don't want to have to sit around kids.
Right. That's the idea.
Then you wait in line another hour and a half to get in that section.
It's worth it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I got no problem
I'd
with
wait.
that. But what I'm saying is my kids behave. They sit there. They don't say a word. Why should we be pointed out that we can't sit in this section? Saying
other parents aren't as disciplined. Don't give discipline like you do. Other parents aren't as good as you.
Then you should smack the parents.
Well,
you should just walk by, smack them right in the back of the head.
Well, you're a dad. You're allowed to do that.
Okay.
Yeah, you're allowed to do that.
But what I'm for is a section in the restaurant that's just the kids only. And you can just close it off. They can be loud.
Throw all the kids in there and the parents go eat somewhere else?
Exactly. Because when I go to a restaurant,
That's called daycare.
I try to get a table away from anybody. So if they are obnoxious, then they won't complain. But my kids just sit there and they eat. They do what they're supposed to do. But if you see a parent that's letting the kids run around, just smack the parent.
Well, you're a rare parent because I don't see a lot of parents like you who are whose kids are that disciplined.
Okay.
You should give little lessons there.
Okay.
Now, Anonymous.
That's me.
That's you.
That's me. I just disagree because I'm a mother of 4 boys from age 4 to 14, and we go out to eat a lot. And my children are very well behaved, and it's the way the parents, correct their children. You can quietly tell your children to sit there and behave, and and that, I mean, I don't know about all these other people, and they're talking about how, when they grew up, they, or whatever that lady saying that, that when they went out, they knew how to behave. Well, maybe, I don't know, maybe she didn't go out as often as kids do these days. And
well, hers was a different generation where kids definitely were they really revered authority differently than kids do now.
Well, and I agree, because we're a busier generation now, and we have, but, it's,
now, how come your kids are so well behaved? What do you do that these other parents are not doing? What's the secret?
I don't know what they do, but I stay on my boys, and they have to know their manners, and just we're constantly telling them, how to behave the same way we grew up. So just keep your morals, but don't we shouldn't be punished not to to be able to go out to eat somewhere just because somebody wants to go out, and not have children around them. When those people that just like the first caller that was probably a newlywed, when, let her be married 18 years like me, and then when she has her children, and then see how she feels.
She'll be thankful for the distraction, not have to talk to her husband anymore over dinner.
But I think even...
It's just, I don't know, I just think it's people like that, just, they have no clue till they have children. You have
now you think, now what you do you give your children consequences? Do they know if they don't behave themselves at the table that's going to be...
They'll chop a finger off?
well, no, but yes, we do. We tell them. They know they can get in trouble. My children, when they get home from school, they sit down, they get a snack, sit down, do their homework, then they can go outside. My kids do not sit at a PlayStation all day.
Right.
My kids go out and ride the bike, golf cart, whatever. They're out there. But all the it's like we get all stereotyped these days. But anyway, just to let them know that we're, it's not fair.
You're out there. The good moms are out there.
We're out here, and there's, all kids are not running around like that.
Right.
And I tell you what, it's like that man that called, or whoever called earlier said, like, if, he would say something to the management to go say something. I tell you what, if he would have came and said something to one of my children, I would,
But your kids are well behaved. See, if your kids were running, if all 4 of your boys were running around crazy.
Well, and we've seen that, but and then sometimes kids are tired. Maybe they're not feeling well, and then they've been gone all day, and they're trying to grab something quick to get home.
Right, that's true.
So you don't know their circumstances. So.
Right, that's true. That's true. Thank you.
Well, you got to pay attention to your kids.
Well, here's another thing. Let me ask you this, Anthony.
All right.
Let's say you and your wife want to go out for a romantic dinner without the kids. You want to go to a fancy restaurant with and have screaming kids next to you, even though you are a parent?
Well, I can tolerate it a little bit better than
because you know how to tune it out.
I can tune it. Yeah, because please. Yeah, 2 kids screaming at you the whole time.
You tune me out regularly, so I'm sure you can tune kids
I
out. No problem.
I haven't heard 2 words you've said since 7 o'clock.
I'm sure.
But I think it just, like she said, it comes down to the parents. There are some kids, like my kids, when you go out to a restaurant, they'll sit there. They won't do anything. They'll be quiet, and they'll just sit and eat. But when you go somewhere else and there's kids running around in circles all night long, it's because those parents aren't paying attention to those kids.
It's 704-570-1079. We're talking about there's a petition going around. Should there be child-free dining sections? And Jimmy, you say yes.
I say definitely yes.
Definitely yes. Because not all parents are like that last caller.
Now, I agree with that last caller. I think if a parent can manage their children, I think most of this is parental control. I taught school, special ed kids, for 34 years, and I have seen the worst of worst kids, ADD kids, emotionally handicapped kids, et cetera, et cetera. But when I go in a restaurant, and it's not just restaurants, flying on airlines, I had the worst flight to Denver a month ago. There was 2 kids that screamed incessantly the entire time.
And it's not like you can go sit somewhere else, really. It's a crowded plane.
If they're not old enough to fly and sit in the seat by themselves, keep them at home. I mean, I understand people want to take their kids to see grandparents and this and that and the other. But, and I realize little kids probably the altitude hurts their ears. But, give them some Paragard.
Right.
I mean, my mother did, a little touch on a teaspoon. Let them sleep the entire thing.
Right.
Don't make the kids miserable.
Right.
And that's where I fault parents is taking them to inappropriate restaurants for kids. Like a very nice restaurant. When I go out and I'm spending $25 or $35 for an entree.
Oh, Anthony went to Ruth's Chris on Saturday night. It was $45 a steak?
But it's really good.
I do not expect to be bothered by children.
Right.
And I have no problem saying something to management. And if the parents are right next to me, I have no problem saying something to the parents. I had kids kicking me on a flight recently. There were two kids sitting right behind me, and they kept, putting their feet on the seat and pushing and pushing.
Right, and that's on the parents. The parents should be the ones to say, stop it.
Well, they weren't sitting with the parents. The parents were sitting a row behind them. So I asked the stewardess to say something, and she said something to the kids and to the parents. And it was not 2 minutes after the stewardess left that they started again. And I finally just turned around and said, stop it. And the mother stood up and said, you can't say that. I said, can't? I said, I already have.
I already have. And if you can't, right, somebody has to discipline these children. Right.
I said, tell your kids to quit kicking my seat.
And then what happened?
Down. She sat down, and they did quit.
Oh, good.
And these kids were like 11 and 12. I mean, they were not little.
They weren't little tiny children, right?
No. Right. And in fact, another example today, I was in a store that had a lot of toys and other things, and there was 3 kids running around just like dancing. There was one little boy, probably I'm guessing 4, maybe 5. He was dragging toys off, banging them up and down on the counter, abusing them. And then when he got finished with one, instead of putting it back on the counter, he threw it on the floor and just walked off.
See, that's a reflection of the parents. The parents should step in and say, that's not how we treat things. That's not how we treat people. This mother
was standing right within 15 feet of this child while he was doing it.
And didn't say a word?
Did not say a word. I walked over to the kid and I said, pick that up and put it on the shelf. She looked at me, and if looks could kill, I would be one dead human being. But I'm sorry. You just don't go places and abuse other people. I mean, when I was little, I remember I got one of the worst spankings of my life because we were at a neighbor's house, like almost a relative. And I made the mistake of saying something to her about I was hungry. And my dad took me outside and he said, don't you ever go into somebody's house and ask for food. It will appear that we're not feeding you.
Interesting.
He said, that is just poor manners. If they offer you something to eat, that's fine. Don't you ever ask for food in somebody's house.
That's very interesting. So your parents were willing to teach you manners at an early age, and I think that's what you're talking about, Jimmy. I think a lot of these parents are unwilling to say kicking someone's seat is bad manners. Hey, Angel, how are you? Thank you for waiting.
You're welcome. I'm doing well. How are you guys?
Very good, very good. Thank you. So
Good.
Which side do you fall on here?
You know what? First, let me just preface this. I'm a black female, and I have a 12-year-old and I have a 13-year-old. I do love children. I do. I have 2 of my own that I adore, and I think that it's the most awesome responsibility that I've been charged with. But I do have to say, I understand the side that the parents are on when they say they don't know what kind of day the children had. Well, that's true, and you do have to keep in mind that these are children. Okay, for instance, my son Christian, he's 13. He's only been on this earth for 13 years. I cannot expect him to think logically like I, myself, a 35-year-old woman would think.
Right.
Although I will say this, and whomever's listening, if they're opposed to what I'm about to say or they disagree, then fine. But in my experience dealing with my children and seeing other black children, we really don't have that problem. And maybe it's because I've gone out and never seen it, but I've always had my children in a social setting, and I've always taught them whatever you do reflects on me. It reflects on Daddy
That's very
too.
interesting. I've never seen it as an ethnicity thing.
And it may not be. It may not be, Cooper. That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is, we revere our parents differently than other races. My mom could look at me, just give me a look, and it would be over. I'm serious. That's just the way that most black children have grown up.
I think that's a social class thing. I think it's social class because I mean, I think I don't know. I could be wrong, but it sounds to me like you were taught respect.
Right, and I was, but I know white people this way. I know Puerto Ricans this way. You know, I know the way that some of them have grown up because I grew up around all the races. But even still, when I go out, I'm not going to say 9 times out of 10, but most times out of any other times that I go out, if I see a child pitching a tantrum, it's not a black child. I don't know why that is, but I haven't seen it. And I will make this point as well. Now, I also have noticed children that are born to older parents act and react differently. If you have a 35-year-old person two 35-year-old people that chose to procreate and their child, they normally turn out different. I don't know if it's something with the parents being older.
It is something. Now the guys are going to laugh at me, but there's actually research to support that. That's a very true. That's a very true statement. Yes. Oh, shut up, guys. Older
seriously,
parents.
It does matter. It really does matter.
No, we're laughing at the research thing that she has research
they always
on.
laugh at me because I have research all over the place. But this is an area that I deal in, so this is an area that I know about. So I don't need to shut up, you guys.
No, seriously, because I've
you're making
seen
a good
it happen.
point. Older parents.
Actually, I've mentored children before that have older parents, and they're totally different. Even though their parents may be 65 and they're the oldest parents in the PTA meeting, but those children, I'm not saying they grow up with a healthier lifestyle, but they're
better behaved than the younger,
They just do. They really do. So as far as having a kid-free section, trust me, I love children, and when I go to my sons and daughters' school, the kids treat me differently because I'm not going to say I make them respect me, but I earn their respect because I look them in the eyes and I talk on their level. I never make them the object of ridicule, but I'll let them know, look.
I have to say, I don't know if it's a race thing. I think you're just a good parent. You sound like a really good parent, and I think that's part of it too, because I think we're also talking about bad parents, but I never looked at it as an ethnicity thing. I'm going to notice it next time I go out to a restaurant because I don't think about that sort of thing, but that's very interesting. Hey, Erin.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm very good. So are you in favor of the child-free sections?
I am. I'm very much in favor. Growing up in my family, my sisters and I, anytime we would go anywhere, even a restaurant anywhere with my parents, we were so very well behaved. And you know, if we started to get out of line, you know, that one look from my dad, you know, that was enough.
Right.
He had no qualms at all about discipline other people's children. You know, there were some kids in church one Sunday. They were acting up in the row behind us. You know, I think borderline yelled at them.
Wow.
You know, and you know, they were so well.
Look, your dad is a parent's parent, and whether it's his own children or somebody else's children, that's what parents do. And sometimes, you know, they have to step in if the other parent is not doing their job. Thank you, Erin. That's an interesting perspective that your father had to step in. Hey, Rebecca, let's take Rebecca real quick, just real quick. So she disagrees. I just want to hear Rebecca real quick. You disagree?
Oh yeah, mine is I disagree, but not on the point I'm a parent, and not on the point that I think it's, you know, a terrible thing. It's you know, it's a parent's responsibility, but it's on the point of, you know, we've already been through segregation, you know, with the African American population. You know, it's a gateway. Opening it up, you know, separate the parents. I can understand having a time frame or a family time opening at like 4 p.m. from like
so child families versus childless families, you're saying?